Hey guys, Andy Yen, spoken label. My friend here, the marvellous and unpredictable for this novel as well, Peter Humphreys. Now, Peter's going to we said before, three extracts from your novel, aren't you, mate? I'm going to get right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah.
Over to you, my friend. Take it away then.
Thanks, Andy. I'm going to read, three different sections. As we discussed, there's three sort of time periods that, are covered in alternating chapters of Adrift. And it's starting off on the container ship with Serena and Leighton. And they've just had a very calm day at sea, watching the dolphins going beside the ship. And the weather's changed. And of course, also to point out that both of them are carrying certain secrets with them on their voyage. It had to happen sooner or later. We hit some weather in the middle of the night. The ship is climbing waves and trying to smash them into oblivion, like the dolphins, but without the instinctive confidence nature gave them. The Sea Witch, in stark, inflexible contrast, has been designed and built by men and women and has inherited their immutable neuroses. Serena is already awake, perched on the edge of our pine-encased mattress, her face as grey as her vest and knickers. You said the shrew wouldn't be stormy, she whispers, as if our voices, rather than the tempest outside, might be the thing to wake anyone on board left sleeping. I said the South Atlantic is calmer than the North, but there's no guarantees. You said his name in your sleep. You're kidding. Well, not his name, she clarifies, just that stupid expression you invented for him. You've got to make it, you've got to break it to make it. That was one of his, I tell her, one of Don's. What's the difference? A thunder crack, but not above us, somewhere to port. The wind is racing past our cabin window so fast we can barely hear its banshee wail. I look up at the lozenge-shaped emergency light in its grey caging. It remains unlit, the alarm unsounded. Can't be a big deal then, can it? I'm scared, I tell her. Me too, says Serena. I sit up and we hold hands and listen in silence. The ship is creaking and cracking, its superstructure expanding and contracting in reluctant harmony with the whims of the storm. Want to have a look at it? I ask, trying to wink roguishly, but feeling my eyelid flicker like a yanked blind. Sure. I rise unsteadily and make my way across to the tin store cupboard, one leaden footstep at a time. A wave tilts me backwards as I unlatch the cupboard door, but I manage to stay on my feet. The door swings open and I grab onto it, then thrust myself towards the shelves, ignoring the life jackets in their transparent wrappers and reaching for the wooden box nestled below my neatly folded t-shirts. Returning, I place it within range of her hungry fingers and collapse back onto the bed. By the time I'm sat up again, she's opened the box and is admiring the jewel within. Flashing blue, black, purple, white, a burst of red today. The multi-sided sapphire seems to alter its appearance each time you see it. Stunning, isn't it? I say. All's fair. She glances up at me, and I see the crazy brightness of the stone dancing in the panicky green of her eyes, in love and war. She never wanted us to have wedding rings, too much like livestock branding, too difficult to source ethically. I forget the exact reason. Until recently, I couldn't picture her venerating anything remotely blingy. Yes, I smile and nod. That's what they say, sweetmeat. All's fair in love and war and COVID. Time passes. We lurch together, settle down again, then lurch forward, willing our stillness onto external bodies. I imagine Nielsen gripping the wheel, powering through the spittle on the rain-scarred bridge, leering at the waves as they break over the decks, challenging the gods. We'll be okay, won't we? She asks at last. I want to stay with her, to reassure her, as a good partner should, but find myself slipping back to the dawn of the year, the start of the beginning, or the beginning of the end. So that's the first extract, and now we're going way back to the Wirral in 1984, and not coincidentally, the protagonists are around my age. So back in 1984, they're around 10 or 11 years old. And yeah, some of the seeds of the contemporary thriller element of the book are planted back on the Wirral, as where we join some of the characters here. Johnny doesn't ask to join us when Craig, Mal, and I start walking home together after school. He just starts walking next to us and follows us when we turn into the alleyway behind Parade Drive. even though his home is the other way on Cavendish Road. We're going to see Anubis, Craig tells him. Craig is my best friend. He has blue eyes and light brown hair and wears little round glasses, like John Lennon's before he was killed. Okay, says Johnny, taking off his tie and stuffing it into his pump bag. Dad's forgotten to pick me up again. They won't miss me. We look down at the cobbles as we walk. The sand doesn't mess up the back alleys like it does the pavements, so we get a clearer sight, but there's not much happening today. A few cigarette ends, but they make your hands smell when you rip them open to find out what all the fuss is about. We see the 10p some rich kid superglued to the ground years ago and shake our heads sadly. When Johnny sees it twinkling, we nudge him away so he doesn't bend down to pick it up and look stupid. Crab apples hang from the crooked branches of trees poking out of back gardens, but it's only worth picking those if you need something to chuck at an enemy. How do you know where Anubis lives? Johnny asks. My sister told me, says Craig. Apparently there's lots of Egyptian stuff buried round here. On the Wirral? Johnny asks. Yes, Craig insists. Where do you think the mummy in Monkton Museum came from? I don't know, says Johnny. Egypt? Here we are, says Mal. He's bigger than the rest of us, with broad shoulders and a square head. His hair is blonde and messy like straw. He has grey eyes and a couple of dark moles on his blushy cheeks. His dad is teaching him how to play cricket and do crosswords. We stop in front of the lamppost. We check the graffiti made with compass points. It hasn't changed. Everton with a line crossed through it, and then LFC at a 45-degree angle to the side. We look up. It's still too light for the bulb to be glowing orange. Okay, so now we ask him a question, I say, still not sure about Johnny being with us. If he tells the class about this, we might get laughed at, but Johnny doesn't look like he's taking the mickey. He looks serious, like the rest of us. That's what Anubis does to you. How does he answer? Asks Johnny. We come back later, I explain, when it's dark. If he's shining brightly, it's a yes. If he's all faded, it's a no. I see, says Johnny. Can I ask a question? Craig winces. Shouldn't we ask a question about the murder? He says. All that stuff will be in the paper, Johnny tells him. And it's true. Paperboys dump copies of the Gazette in all the hidden places we know. We'll be able to find out the gory details soon enough. Okay then, I say, and we all move forward and grip different parts of the metal lamppost. Then we start to shake it. You have to close your eyes, Johnny, says Mal, or it won't work. They are closed, says Johnny. Harder, says Craig, and we all put our backs into it. Soon we can hear rattling inside the lamppost, which means Anubis is at home. The rattling is the sound of him waking up. You can ask your question now, Johnny, says Craig. We carry on shaking the lamppost while Johnny steps back and takes a deep breath. The rattling grows louder. My hands are beginning to ache. Hurry up, I say. We haven't got all day. Okay, says Johnny, quietly at first, then making each word stronger than the last. Anubis, he says. Anubis, can you hear me? My question is, will Mum and Dad get a divorce? We let go of the lamppost, opening our eyes, panting, sure that Anubis has heard us. The rest of us smile with relief, but Johnny has a hard look on his face. I think about his question. Anubis knows everything. It probably doesn't matter that the rest of us don't know what a divorce is. And I'll read a final short extract now, and this includes Johnny again. Johnny's a kind of elusive character in the book who reappears in the narrator in Leighton's life. And another theme, which I don't know if we mentioned, which of the book is friendship and loss and loss of that, and how we lose touch with people over time, and our lives go in different directions. So anyway, this is a sighting, an apparent sighting of Johnny at the bombed out church in Liverpool, which some listeners may know, in the 1990s. There's no evidence, no witnesses to prove I see Johnny, clear as day, at the end of that night. Craig and Mal have departed, arms around each other's shoulders, to find a taxi to take them to the Wirral, and I have skirted the city centre, pausing at the bombed out church, in case there might be a night bus running to take me down Smithdown Road to Egbert, so I can avoid the walk. But there he is. In the corner of my eye as I squint at the bolted-on timetable, hair shorter, cheekbones intact, a long black vintage leather coat draped around his shoulders. I turn as Johnny takes a last drag on his cigarette, then flicks it my way, glaring at me unblinkingly before turning up his collar and retreating into the hollow darkness of the church. I go and inspect the filter tip, glowing orange as it skips randomly down the church steps towards the bus stop. A Marlboro Light, the branding says. Yes, this is exactly what he'd be smoking now, what he'd be doing now if he was still in my life. There are no buses. I look back once, knowing he's already gone, then mentally prepare for the walk, for picking up my pre-packed rucksack tomorrow and heading home, as if nothing has happened.
Fantastic. Really great variety in the book there, Peter, with that one. So, like,
Thank you.
did you find, obviously, when you're going back in time, like you found when you write your stuff in the world, what you said is like, I do this myself when I do writing characters about the same age as you. Did you
Mm.
find that you're accidentally bringing memories up or placing bits into the book you spotted afterwards thinking, oh, I didn't mean to do that?
Yeah, I did in some ways, yeah, and it's not somewhere I go back to. I don't have, or I haven't had much family there. Some families recently moved back, so it wasn't like I was going regularly. So I just had these quite evocative places in my head, like the boatyard and the beach and this island off the coast. We grew up on Hoylake, so you've got this island not you can walk to, but it's kind of dangerous to walk to it if you don't know the tides. So there's this sort of there's beauty and there's danger. So so a lot of it was, the germs of it came through memories. There's some things that happened and some things that didn't, and I just played with that. But yeah, once I was back at that time in my head, quite a lot of things came back to me, and some of them as we do as writers, you tweaked, and because I didn't have, yeah, it wasn't like an exciting action-packed childhood. I was lucky. It was very nice, and obviously, now I'm adding these kind of elements of mystery and danger there that weren't fully there.
Yeah, you do. You're very good at lying on it. I know because my first two novels were set around Chorlton Command, near where Speakeasy
Yeah,
is actually. And I
yeah,
grew up a lot round there, and it's a case of in my case, was all the characters were fictional, completely fictional, but
yeah.
all the locations were true. I think it's
Right.
sometimes doing that, like you did in the Wirral. It gives it
Yeah.
that earthiness, doesn't it? Really, so it
Yeah, I've changed some
gives
of the
it.
names.
Yeah,
I don't know if you did that with Chorlton. I've
yeah,
kind of changed some of the names of the towns and
yeah.
districts, but yeah, being located like in the extracts I read, going down the back
Mm,
alleys, these things you do when you're a kid, where
yeah.
you're just walking, you're bored, you've got nowhere to go, you've got no money, and
Like we're like
you,
that as adults, mate, aren't we? Sometimes, so yeah.
nothing's changed.
No,
Yeah,
but it doesn't.
exactly.
Just get older, right? More grey hair, but yeah. In that case, yeah, yeah, I agree with you completely. It's the art in writing, I think, and it's sometimes where you can actually. I think the better you get a writer is the better of a liar you become in some ways.
Well, yes, exactly, exactly. And don't, yeah, never trust a writer. Writers are parasites, as one
Yeah,
famous writer
no,
said.
that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, we're lying buggers, and we will use you and abuse you.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is worrying, really, when I'm married to a novelist, and in your case, you're married to an artist, aren't you? So you dread to think what we're going to do to each
I
other.
know, I know. Well, we're being honest about like being liars, so yeah, we're confessing now. You see, we're confessing
Oh God,
our
yeah. Well,
ways as writers.
I think we'll wrap up here, mate, before we drop ourselves in it any more today, then definitely.
Good idea.
It's been a pleasure, mate, today. Now, people are wondering, obviously, Peter and me now are going to head into the world of them. We're going to hang out with the kids now for a bit, Peter, aren't we? So, 'cause I'm definitely too old for it,
Apparently
and I think
so.
you are. So we're going over to TikTok. So, but it's been a pleasure, mate. It's been great to catch up today, mate. It's seriously great today, as always.
The same. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you, Andy, for having me on again.
Okay, folks, as my mate Don Callis over at AEW Wrestling says, stay safe and stay over. And we will see you all next time on TikTok. See you then.